Hey, it's Doris with Aldi Books, and I have a few books to share with you. Yay! Let me just not ramble about any of it and dive right in because I gotta go to work. Anyway, I have finished Snowflower and the Secret Fan by Lisa C. I listened to this one on audiobook. Yeah. No rambling, just the books today. Yeah. I don't know about Lisa C. I love Amy Tan. Lisa C, not quite as much. I did read this, the Tea-Girl of Hummingbird Lane, which was her most recent, and really enjoyed that one. And I have her newest one since then about the Korean divers that I have not read yet, and I have high hopes for that one. Her older works, I just feel like she relies too much on tragedy. Too much. This is, I think, my third Lisa C, but yeah, I forget the other one that I read, but I was like, really? I realized that this one is set much farther back in time, and tragedy was probably a way of life then, so I'm cutting it some slack for that, but seriously. I did appreciate the historical aspect of the foot binding in this one. Oh, that made me angry. Not at Lisa C, but at the times, and just these male-dominated societies that did things like this to women, horrific things to their children, their 7-year-old girls, and just the worthlessness of girls in the day, the society seeing them that way, I should phrase that. It's just, but anyway. Then I finished Girl with a White Pearl by Tracy Chevalier. I'll listen to this one on audiobook as well, and I felt kind of blah about this one. I mean, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this about these much beloved books today, but yeah. Again, I did like the historical aspects. I really like books that deal with the Protestant and Catholic views at the times in which they were written, and this one I think is 17th century, so that was really interesting, and I earmarked a quote for you from it that I really appreciated. But other than that, again, the parts about, this is based on Vermeer and the painting that you see here, and it's kind of imagining that this was a maid in his home and the relationship, and just creating a story around who this girl might be. And yeah, I'm just kind of over the storyline where a young woman develops feelings for a much older man in a much higher position in society, who is also already in a relationship, or perhaps even married with children, might we say. Yeah, that just gets really old. It does. But I did like the parts about a painter's life and how he created his compositions and things like that. But anyway, to the quote. It's talking about, the girl's family is Protestant and Vermeer's family is Catholic, and the Protestants at the time didn't like paintings and such. It felt iconic to them and against biblical teachings, so the mother was really against all this painting nonsense, and the girl was kind of conflicted about it because she really was loving the paintings, and she had an artistic eye herself. So she's talking to Vermeer about it, and he says, He says about the mother, she cannot tell you what it is that you see or do not see. And then he goes on to say, this is what I liked here. It's not the painting that is Catholic or Protestant, he said, but the people who look at it and what they expect to see. A painting in a church is like a candle in a dark room. We use it to see better. It is a bridge between ourselves and God, but it is not a Protestant candle or a Catholic candle. It is simply a candle. I just really liked that. I did. Okay, and then I finished Prodigal Summer by Barbara Kingsolver. This one I physically read, and in this gorgeous, gorgeous edition that I see all the time in used bookstores. So if you're into Barbara Kingsolver, you might want to check out those used bookstores. This one is written from 3 perspectives. So you have one storyline. This is in the Appalachian Mountains, by the way. You have one storyline, which is a forest ranger, female forest ranger in her, I guess, mid to late 40s, and a young hunter that comes in her range, and they mate. Spoiler alert, sorry. Then there is another storyline of a farming family, just an extended family, just the one brother and all of his married sisters and his new wife, and their storyline. Again, spoiler alert, but I guess these are not spoilers because they're all in the first chapters of their origin stories. Not origin stories, but getting you into the story chapters. But yeah. Oh, I'm just not going to say. But anyway, there's that storyline. And then there is the third storyline, which was, I forget, let's see, Moth Love, Predator, Old Chestnuts. How could I forget? That one was my favorite. That is just this curmudgeonly old gentleman trying to propagate chestnuts, the American chestnut that, was obliterated by the blight, and his next door neighbor, who is a little bit of a tree hugger, and, just completely organic all the way while he's spraying the hell out of everything. So I found their story just charming. Anyway, these characters, all of them, I just loved. This book took me about 100 pages to get into, but like I said, it's 3 storylines, so that was essentially reading one of each chapter. By the time I got to the second chapter of each one, I loved these characters. This is very much a slice of life story. So what I'm saying here is it's not much of a story. It's more about the characters. It's very character driven. So, and again, probably I've said this before. I know I have. But Barbara Kingsolver is very thematically driven with her writing. It's all about society or the environment, and usually both things, which this is. But she just does really well in layering these polar views in this one, and she's so gentle with people. So it's probably easy to tell which side of these issues that she falls on, but she's so gentle with both sides of the story. So with the forest ranger, you've got her seeing how important the coyote is an apex predator, and then this hunter who is from a sheep ranch originally and sees them as the enemy. You've got the farming community and the monoculturing of just one crop, and tobacco, and it not being the best crop to cultivate maybe in these day and age. And this new woman, who is an entomologist actually, trying to come up with alternate solutions, but still, you know, you have to pay the bills. So thinking about that, and then this cute elderly couple that I told you about. But I just enjoyed reading this and then just fell in love with these characters. I did read this with a couple others, Jacqueline from 6 Minutes for Me and Britta Bowler, and they didn't love it quite as much. They didn't love it. But like I said, it's a character-driven story and very slice of life. So if you're a Barbara Kingsolver fan and don't mind her little bit of didactic storytelling now and again, you might like this. Yeah, there was one scene in here that I just rolled my eyes at. I can't even. I have to tell you about it. There is night dreams of erotic moth sex. And I'm just like, really? Did you just write that? That was awkward, Barbara. That was so awkward. Anyway, and then I got Franklin and Luna and the Book of Fairy Tales. Jen sent me this in the mail, or her publishers did, and yay, thank you so much, Jen. This was absolutely delightful. All of the books in this series are absolutely delightful. This one, you know, as the subtitle suggests, is and it involves several different fairy tales, you know, united in this storyline, and I just found it charming. I think this one would be lovely to read with your kids this fall. So check it out if you're interested. This is the third in the series, but they don't have to be read chronologically. And then finally, you guys, I finished the Evangelicals. Woo! Yay. Yay. So this book was on the National Book Award finalist list 3 years ago-ish, meaning that the National Book Awards are coming up this fall. I think in November the winner is announced, but maybe in September the long list. And yeah, I bought it shortly thereafter, not last award season, but the one before that, and started reading it for nonfiction November maybe, and never finished, but now I did. So this is about how the evangelical Protestant denominations became involved in politics. Yes, it's very enlightening. So let me just tell you a few random snippets that struck with me. The first section is the early formative years of the United States of America. So that one didn't really strike me as interesting as much. And one thing about this is it's really dense, and it's one of those nonfiction books where the author felt compelled to write about every single person, event, institution, detail that she researched. So it's all in there. A lot of stuff in here. But the highlights, so Graham, what's his name? Oh God, I don't know. You know who I'm talking about. Senior Graham. I forget, Franklin? Franklin's the son. That's not my denomination, so I don't recall. I don't think I am from an evangelical line. Billy Graham. How could I forget Billy? His chapter was really interesting. It was during the civil rights movement, and it was kind of sad to see him not take a stronger stance for civil rights. One of those times when you can see somebody knows what's right and doesn't, go there all the way they should. The chapters about televangelism, so mega preachers on the television during the 80s, was very, very enlightening in thinking of it in parallel with Trump and his campaigning, and yeah, there's just so many parallels there. Like, he campaigns like a televangelist, and it's kind of frightening. And you know, they were talking about how the scandal with Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, and how all these horrible things, corrupt things he did that came to light, and he went back on air or 3 months later, or was it Jerry Falwell? It was one of those. You have to read it to find out, because my brain's not remembering things. But the televangelists, they lied to their constituents, wouldn't be the right word, but you know what I'm saying. They lied and got back on the air, and people believed, you know, just went with it. Fake news is not a new thing. It's not. And what else? It was a bit disappointing that, not disappointing is not the right word, but this was published in 2017, which means it was completed probably in 2016. So there is an epilogue, but it's very short. So this doesn't really go into, like, the evangelicals were on a downswing during the end of the Bush administration. Oh, it was James Dobson. He is this iconic parenting and family guru in the United States. And I'm not feeling as warm and fuzzy about him as I used to. Not that I really followed him at all, but anyway, I'm a firm believer in the separation of church and state. So anyway, yes. What I'm saying is, to wrap this up, is that this doesn't get into the resurgence of the evangelicals and getting Trump elected. So I'd be here for a sequel. I would. I mean, hopefully the sequel would be, you know, a novella length. But anyway, yay, I finished it. Anyway, I better wake the kid up and jet. So thanks so much for watching, and I will be back soon. Bye.